The king of the South just watched his crown hit the floor, and it wasn't stolen by the streets. It was shattered by his own blood. T.I., the man who once ruled Atlanta with wisdom, swagger, and wordplay, is now standing in the ashes of a legacy he built from nothing, watching his son, King Harris, turn that legacy into chaos. This isn't just family drama. This is hip-hop royalty falling apart in real time. King Harris has gone from child star to controversy magnet, trading his father's discipline for disaster. Every clip, every post, every meltdown feels like another nail in the coffin of the Harris dynasty. The internet can't stop watching. The fans can't stop talking. And T.I., he can't stop hurting. Because when your last name becomes a headline, love turns into public humiliation. What started as teenage rebellion has spiraled into something darker. A transformation that has fans asking if King Harris is chasing fame or running from himself. And as T.I. stares into the spotlight that once made him proud, one truth burns brighter than ever. Even legends can't stop their legacy from crumbling when blood turns against blood. It always starts. It's the same way with a phone camera. A shaky live and a teenager convinced the internet is therapy. King Harris hit that go live button like it was a detonator. And within minutes, Atlanta's royal family was trending for all the wrong reasons. He wasn't rapping, he wasn't performing, he was unraveling. The son of one of hip-hop's most respected fathers was suddenly talking reckless, bragging about struggle like he'd survived the Hunger Games. Not private school. The internet did what it always does, turned confusion into content. Fans flooded the comments with disbelief. This man grew up in luxury. What struggle he talking about? One person wrote, T.I. built an empire and his son acting like he built a mixtape in a motel, said another. Within hours, the clip had millions of views, thousands of memes, and one theme: King Harris had officially gone off the rails for T.I. Watching that live was like watching his reflection crack in real time. The man who'd spent decades building discipline, respect, family pride was now watching his son dismantle it one viral clip at a time. Insiders said he was stunned, sitting in silence as the internet roasted his legacy. The rapper, once known for control, couldn't even control his own household. And in the cruel theater of fame, that was worse than any diss track ever written. King Harris wasn't new to the spotlight. He'd grown up on T.I. and Tiny, the family hustle, smiling on camera, joking with siblings, soaking in the glow of his parents' success. To fans, he was the golden child, a mix of charisma and chaos, sure, but always lovable. That charm, though, started fading as he got older. The cameras didn't turn off when the show ended. They just moved to his phone. And unlike scripted TV, there were no producers to yell cut when things went too far. What began as confidence soon morphed into defiance. King started chasing clout like it owed him something. Late night lives, unfiltered rants, disrespectful moments caught on camera. Every clip painted a new bruise on T.I.'s reputation. At first, fans thought it was teenage rebellion, but the tone kept getting darker. He wasn't just acting out, he was lashing out. The kid who once called T.I. my hero now looked like he was auditioning for Enemy of the Year. Then came the breaking point. A family event that should have been a celebration turned into a viral meltdown. King and T.I. got into a heated argument, and of course, someone filmed it. The clip spread like wildfire. King shouted, "I had to make my own way." While T.I., clearly heartbroken, fired back, "You had everything you needed. Don't disrespect what I built." That moment wasn't just a father and son fighting. It was a generational earthquake. Every ounce of T.I.'s pride crumbled in those few seconds. Fans didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or pray. "This ain't no normal argument," one viewer tweeted. "That's decades of pain right there." Another wrote, "You can hear T.I.'s heartbreaking mid-sentence." And they were right. This wasn't about money, fame, or even parenting. This was about identity. T.I. had spent his life trying to outrun the streets, only for his son to sprint straight toward them. The headlines came fast and merciless. The Shade Room called it a father's worst nightmare. Hollywood. Unlocked labeled it the collapse of hip-hop's strongest family. Blogs reposted the clip with captions like, T.I. versus King, when legacy turns to liability. It was brutal. Every outlet that once celebrated T.I. as the blueprint for hip-hop fatherhood was now cashing in on his downfall. Inside the Harris home, things were no better. Tiny tried to play peacemaker, but even she couldn't glue back what pride had shattered. He's just young, she said in an Instagram story, hoping to cool things down. But the comment section wasn't having it young. He's grown enough to embarrass y'all, one person wrote. Another said, the family hustle officially over. T.I. stayed quiet, at least in public. Behind closed doors, sources claimed he was furious. But more than that, he was hurt. For a man who'd survived prison, industry, politics, and public scandal, nothing cut deeper than this. Watching his son become a stranger hurt worse than any headline. Friends said he barely spoke for days. His studio sessions slowed down. His podcast paused. He wasn't just angry, he was mourning. Meanwhile, King treated the controversy like a press run. He reposted memes, laughed at the hate comments, and even dropped a few subtle jabs about haters who don't know real. Fans begged him to stop digging his own grave. Bro, your dad's out here crying while you out here trolling, one person commented. But King didn't care. He was basking in the spotlight, mistaking attention for respect. The irony was too loud to ignore. T.I. had built his name preaching discipline, hustle, and legacy, the exact things his son seemed to reject. He wanted to pass down wisdom, but instead he passed down a camera. Every lesson he taught King about surviving the streets got twisted into how to survive the algorithm. The father raised on survival instincts had a son raised on streams and clout, and the deeper King spiraled, the more the world questioned T.I.'s image. Was this karma? Hypocrisy? Or just bad parenting catching up to a good man? The same blogs that once called T.I. a role model were now calling him a cautionary tale. Fans who grew up admiring him were tweeting, if T.I. can't control his kid, what hope the rest of us got? But beneath all the public chaos, there was a private truth no one wanted to admit. T.I. wasn't just fighting his son's rebellion. He was fighting his own reflection. King was wild, outspoken, stubborn, just like his father used to be. The problem was T.I. had evolved. King hadn't. It was like watching your younger self destroy everything you once fought for. That's what made it tragic. King wasn't trying to ruin his father. He was trying to escape his shadow. But in doing so, he'd burned the entire dynasty down. The fans saw chaos. I saw heartbreak. Because when your child becomes your biggest public humiliation, it's no real man quote, no podcast wisdom, no speech that can fix it. And the cruelest part, the more T.I. hurt, the more the internet laughed. Pain doesn't trend, mockery does. Every sigh, every clip, every headline turned into a meme. And each meme chipped another piece off the crown. T.I. spent decades building, the legacy he built to be remembered by, was now the punchline his son accidentally wrote. If you thought the drama had peaked, you'd be wrong, because this wasn't a feud, it was a free-fall. Days after the viral argument, King Harris went live again. He wasn't apologizing or reflecting. He was doubling down, grinning like chaos was his new brand deal. Y'all mad? He laughed into the camera. I'm just being me. This was a masterclass in self-destruction, equal parts arrogance and confusion. The chat was ruthless. Being you gonna get your dad on blood pressure meds? One user wrote. You acting like Boosie, but built like a brunch reservation. Another added. The comments were clowning, but the tone was changing. What had started as entertainment was starting to feel sad. You could almost hear fans sighing through their screens. This wasn't funny anymore. It was painful. T.I., on the other hand, went silent. And when a man who made a career out of speaking his mind goes quiet, that silence is deafening. He stayed off socials, canceled podcast appearances, and avoided interviews. But as we all know, silence online only fuels speculation. Every gossip blog from Hollywood unlocked to the neighborhood. Talk ran their own version of T.I.'s heartbreak. Some claimed he was emotionally drained. Others said he'd given up. I knew for sure, but everyone had an opinion. Then came the turning point, a leaked photo that hit the internet like an earthquake. T.I. sitting alone in his car, head down, hoodie pulled low, looking like a man who just realized his kingdom was built on sand. No words, no quotes. Just that one haunting image. It went viral within minutes. Even legends get tired. One fan wrote, "This ain't the king of the South. This the king of heartbreak," said another. The sympathy poured in, but sympathy is a twisted kind of fame. It keeps you trending, but it doesn't heal you. Meanwhile, King kept feeding the machine. He posted photos and flashy outfits with captions like "unbothered" and "born different." Fans weren't impressed. "Different ain't always good," one person replied. "Different ain't always good," one person replied. Another said, "Your dad breaking down and you posting thirst traps." The internet was turning on him and he didn't even notice. He'd become the villain of his own movie, and the audience was booing louder with every post. Celebrities began chiming in, turning private pain into public opinion. Boosie went live saying, "Man, that boy trippin'. He don't know who he talked into." Rick Ross posted a vague caption about honor and respect. Even 50 Cent couldn't resist dropping a meme of T.I. with the text, "When you realize your son more drama than your enemies ever were." Got 500,000 likes in a day. Everyone was laughing except T.I. And when he finally did speak, it wasn't in an interview or on a live, it was in a podcast clip that went viral for all the right reasons. "I love my son," he said, voice shaking slightly. "But sometimes love ain't enough. Sometimes you gotta let the world teach what you can't." That sentence broke the internet. Fans quoted it, shared it, cried over it. The clip spread faster than the argument ever did. "That's a father talking from pain," one person tweeted. "He not mad no more, he hurt." For the first time, the internet stopped mocking and started mourning. The narrative flipped. It's from T.I. the disciplinarian to T.I. the broken father. But the internet doesn't stay empathetic for long. Within days, new footage surfaced, King in yet another heated argument, this time with fans outside a restaurant. "Y'all don't know me?" he shouted. Someone yelled back, "Your dad T.I. We know enough." The clip went viral again. The same cycle: outrage, memes, debates, think pieces, then exhaustion. Even Tiny, the forever peacemaker, tried to calm things down. She posted a simple quote, "You can't heal in the same place you got hurt." Fans saw right through it. "Ma'am, your son is live every other day. Their hurt is Wi-Fi," one person commented. "The family hustle turned into the family headache," another wrote. It was brutal, but not untrue. The Harris family was officially a storyline now. Not people, but plot points. And in the cruel world of social media, the audience always demands another episode. T.I. showed up to a charity event looking exhausted. Cameras caught him trying to smile for fans, but his eyes told another story. A journalist asked about King, and all he said was, "He's finding his way." But as soon as that clip hit the internet, people dissected it like a crime scene. "He looks like he's holding back tears," one fan said. "That ain't anger, that's disappointment." The clip hit 1 million views in a few hours. Even the sigh he let out afterward became a meme, the sigh heard round the world. And still, King kept pushing. He went online again, mocking the sympathy. "Y'all love to act like I'm lost," he said, laughing. "I'm just not fake." The internet exploded, but this time, not in his favor. "He's trolling his own family," someone commented. "He ain't lost, he just loud." Another said, "He chasing pain like it's a paycheck." By now, even industry insiders were tired. People who'd known T.I. for years started speaking up anonymously. "Tip's been through hell," one source said. "He gave that boy everything, structure, money, education, but you can't raise gratitude." The quote hit the blogs like scripture. Fans reposted it with captions like, "Say it louder for the parents in the back." And that's when it hit T.I. This wasn't just a family scandal. This was his entire legacy unraveling in public. The image he'd spent years perfecting, the hustler turned mogul, the street smart father, the family man, was now collapsing under the weight of his son's rebellion. Every move King made was rewriting his father's reputation. Every clip was erasing years of work. But the cruelest part? T.I. couldn't fight back. Not with bars, not with speeches, not with discipline. Because no matter what he said, the world had already picked its side. The chaos was more entertaining than the comeback. Behind the scenes, friends said, "I broke down for real this time. Not in anger, in surrender." He said he don't know what else to do, one friend revealed. He feels like he failed at the one thing that mattered most, being a father. And when a man who's conquered everything feels defeated by his own child, that's not scandal, that's tragedy. The fans saw it too. The laughter stopped. The jokes died down. What remained was silence, the kind of silence that hits after a storm, when all that's left is damage. The King of the South wasn't battling the industry anymore. He was battling himself. This section captures the aftermath, the fall of a father's legacy, and the haunting calm after public destruction, all in pure voiceover narration. Written for a Netflix-style viral YouTube doc tone with sharp sarcasm, heartbreak, and tragic realism. The storm never really stopped. It just got quieter. The shouting turned into whispers, the memes faded, and the world moved on to its next scandal. But for T.I., the silence wasn't peace. It was the sound of everything he built echoing back at him in pieces. For years, he'd been the blueprint, the rapper who rose from trap to triumph, the man who turned chaos into charisma. He'd survived the streets, the critics, the controversies. But this time, there was no comeback verse. No public apology, no redemption arc, just a father watching his own legacy collapse in slow motion. Every time he looked online, there it was, another clip, another comment. Another reminder that the Harris name didn't inspire pride anymore. It inspired pity. The internet, once his biggest amplifier, had become a mirror reflecting his deepest regret. The king wasn't dethroned by rivals. He was dethroned by his own bloodline. Behind the scenes, friends said T.I. was done trying to fix King. "He's grown," he said in one conversation. "I just hope life treats him kinder than he treated me." That one sentence hit like a sermon soaked in sorrow. This wasn't anger anymore, it was acceptance. The kind of acceptance that breaks something inside you quietly. King, meanwhile, didn't slow down. If anything, he leaned deeper into the chaos. He released a new song called "Born in Gold, Raised in Fire," a defiant anthem dripping with arrogance and pain. The lyrics talked about fake idols, real struggle, and living in someone's shadow. The world knew exactly who it was about. The song went viral instantly, not because of talent, but because of tension. Every bar was another cut across the bond that used to hold them, TOGETHERT. I didn't respond. He didn't post a lyric, a diss, or a shade. He just went quiet, completely, devastatingly quiet. For a man whose entire brand was his voice, silence was the loudest thing he'd ever said. The fans could feel it. The sympathy came flooding back. "You can tell that broke him," one user tweeted. "This man gave us wisdom for years. And now he's out here suffering in silence." Another wrote, "King might be winning clout, but T.I. losing peace, and that's worse." But fame doesn't pause for grief. The internet turned the heartbreak into trend cycles. Reaction channels milked every tear for clicks. Podcasters dissected his parenting like it was public policy. Even late-night comedians cracked jokes about T.I. versus King, Season 2. It was grotesque. Pain turned into programming. Meanwhile, Tiny tried to hold the family together the only way she knew how, with quiet love. She posted throwback pictures, memories from simpler times, captions like "God's still working." But even she couldn't outrun the narrative. Every time she posted, people flooded the comments with "Fix your house first." The internet doesn't forgive. It just finds new targets. Then came the footage that made everyone stop scrolling. T.I. at an award ceremony, alone in the crowd. The camera panned to him as the host mentioned legacy. And for the first time you could see it, the heartbreak behind the legend. His expression wasn't pride or anger. It was grief disguised as grace. Fans clipped it instantly. "The king looks broken," one caption said. That's the face of a man watching his empire turn into memories. After that night, he gave one final interview. Raw, stripped, unguarded. "You spend your whole life building something for your family," he said. "And then one day you realize legacy ain't what you pass down. It's what they choose to carry." The internet froze. It wasn't just another celebrity quote. It was poetry born from pain. Millions watched, and for a brief moment, everyone was reminded that beneath the fame, there's still a father, still a man who bleeds. But King, he didn't respond. No apology, no acknowledgement, just more posts, more parties, more noise. He was living his rebellion like it was a religion. The tragedy wasn't that he turned against his father. It was that he didn't even notice the damage anymore. Fame had numbed him. And that's what broke T.I., completely realizing that his son wasn't fighting him. He was lost to something bigger. Clout, validation, the black hole of digital addiction. You can argue with a person, but you can't compete with a platform that rewards destruction. The internet had raised King the way T.I. never could, fast, loud, and empty. The fans saw it clearly now. The conversation shifted from gossip to grief. Comment sections became confessionals. "My kid doing the same thing," one father wrote. "This story hit too close." Another said, "This ain't celebrity news. This every parent's nightmare." And just like that, the narrative changed. This wasn't just a famous family in chaos. It was a reflection of every home fighting the modern disease of fame. Every parent trying to guide a generation that listens to strangers more than family. Every child desperate to go viral, even if it means burning their bloodline to do it. By the end of the month, both T.I. and King went radio silent. No lives, no tweets, no interviews. Just stillness. Some said they reconciled privately. Others said they cut each other off completely. But maybe the truth doesn't matter anymore. Maybe this is what legacy looks like in the digital age. Not passed down, but broadcast. Not protected, but picked apart. T.I. once rapped about being the king of the South. But kings aren't remembered for how they ruled. They're remembered for how they fell. And this fall wasn't about money, music, or mistakes. It was about love. The kind that tries to save someone who doesn't want to be saved. King. Harris' transformation wasn't rebellion. It was a mirror. A painful public reminder that even the strongest empires crumble when pride replaces peace. And T.I., the man who taught millions how to survive, is now learning how to let go. Because sometimes the hardest part of being a legend isn't building a legacy. It's watching it collapse. It's pretending you're okay while it does. And that's the heartbreak behind the headlines. A father who gave everything, and a son who turned it into content. T.I. didn't lose a career. He lost control. King Harris didn't just rebel, he rebranded the family name into a cautionary tale. The same dynasty that once stood for hustle and honor now stands as proof that fame can destroy from the inside out. You can almost feel the pain through the screen, the silence, the regret, the empty pride. T.I. built an empire out of discipline. But the internet built something stronger. Chaos. Because in this generation, rebellion trends faster than respect. And heartbreak gets more views than healing ever could. So now the question is, does legacy even matter anymore? Or has the spotlight become the new bloodline? Drop your thoughts below, because this story isn't just about T.I. and King Harris. It's about every parent watching their child get consumed by the noise. Smash that like button, like you're trying to knock some sense into this timeline. Subscribe before the next celebrity meltdown hits, because you already know what happens next. Another scandal, another downfall, another perfect life exposed in 4K. This is Expose Express. Where fame burns brighter, lies travel faster. And the truth always arrives fashionably late. Stay curious, stay savage, and remember, in the world of fame, every crown eventually cracks.